What a f***ing dweeb. Alrighty folks, it is Revenge of the Nerds here on Yami Noob. We are finally riding and reviewing a Kawasaki Versys 650. Spite, did you ever think the day would come?
I knew it was coming, but I was dreading every second of it. But
Yes.
I mean, here it is in all of its nerdy glory for you guys to just drink in.
It's amazing. We've got our safety vests today, making sure we are matching this motorcycle. And the point of the video today is we have dunked on this bike mercilessly for 3 years, saying that it is the nerdiest, dweebiest, silliest bike you could possibly own. We decided to finally put our money where our mouth is, and so we're out here in California, beautiful sunny Malibu. We have rented this motorcycle off of Twisty Roads. The keen among you might notice that this bike has a very, very clean chain, and that might elude you to who owns this motorcycle. This is actually a bike with some provenance, isn't it, Spike?
Yeah, it's just immaculate. Every little piece of it, so carefully taken care of.
Truly.
Select mods, all of the things that perhaps an experienced motorcyclist would want on his Versys 650.
That's very true. A very experienced motorcyclist would own something like this. So if y'all want, hit the link down below to Twisty Roads, rent a motorcycle in your area. That's where we got this bike. I'm an investor in that company. It's a great thing to do. Go and rent a bike in your area. Go and see some new stuff, ride a new bike. It's a ton of fun. And today we're gonna ride and review the Versys 650. But no review is complete on such a nerdmobile without getting into the specifications of this bike first.
Oh boy, are we going out to the 10th or the 100th place?
1000th.
Oh God. Dude, you have to take that vest off. It's just too nerdy for
Why?
words. Come on, you're blowing out the camera shot too.
Yeah, you're right. We need to have Derek be able to actually film this correctly. And yeah, all right, anyways. Oh man, I feel better. The load has been lifted. All right, folks, specs on the mighty Versys 650 over here. This thing's working with a 650cc, you know, it's Spike, no, I got it, hold on a sec.
Yeah, that seems a little too rounded up for
No,
this
it's rounded
bike.
up. It's actually 650.0026 cc's of displacement, which I didn't know, producing 69, nice, horsepower, which is also great. Good amount of power out of this mill, not too bad. It's
Everything you need, nothing you don't.
Exactly. A wet weight of about 476 pounds. We're probably pushing close to 500 with these bad boys and all of our equipment that we have over here that we're gonna have to show the folks later on because we needed to do a special thing for this bike. One feature that kind of shocked me on this motorcycle is it actually has fully adjustable suspension up at the front. I did not know it came with that. Maybe it is a baby multi-strada, as people try to tell me. There's that guy in our Discord server that says it's like a supermoto too, which, no. You're wrong. You're completely wrong. I've been riding this thing around enough today to know that it's nothing like a supermoto. So obviously the cool thing about the versatile system over here is that, as the name implies, it is a versatile system. You can chuck this thing on back roads, you can do some touring with it. 275 miles of range estimated on this bad boy over here, loaded to the brim with the top boxes, the side bags. You can do whatever you need to with this bike, right, Spike?
Can it go off-road? Is it truly an ADV bike or is it a sport touring motorcycle?
Definitely sport touring. 17-inch wheels, sport rubber, fresh GPRs on this bad boy, by the way, provided by the guy I rented it from, which thanks again, appreciate it. Yeah, it's a little bit more on the sport touring aspect of things than adventure.
Yeah, and it looks it when you're standing next to it. Everything about it just screams, you know, sit absolutely bone stock straight upright and go down a twisty road. Don't have too much fun.
Exactly. Now, the thing about this bike that a lot of people tell me is that it is more than the sum of its parts. You can look at the specs on paper, you can look at everything this bike does. You're already laughing. But today we're gonna find out if that is true. So we're gonna go out and take it for a ride. We've got a ton of great riding to do here today in the hills of Malibu, in these canyons. We're gonna see if it really does hold up to the task of being more than the sum of its parts. But before we get started, I think there's one thing we gotta do.
Yeah, we gotta see what's all in these saddlebags because I can hear it rattling around while you're riding.
Let's check it out. All right, guys, so honest to God, this is exactly how this bike came to us. I think it's just a normal Versys 650 thing. So opening up the side case here, wow, another safety vest. Spike, can you believe that? That's kind of...
I mean, he just wants you to be safe, man.
That's crazy. Some WD-40, of course, because you never know what you need to lubricate. A Penn tire gauge, obviously. Some duct tape as well, because you know you might need to just, I guess, cinch something down while you're out on the side of the road there. Never really know. Really nice side bags, by the way. Pretty nice. All right, what's in the top box over here? Let's take a look, huh? Oh, of course. We've got the sunflower seeds, some snacks on the road. Say some freshy breath over here. Gotta stay hydrated, folks. I don't even know why this is here. It's still cold somehow, which is crazy. Some chain paste, of course, because you need to make sure that your chain is clean while you ride. Spare fuses, because you never know when the old versatile system is gonna blow, you know, one of its systems there. And then a tubeless puncture repair, because of course. They're so prepared, guys. Versys 650 owners, it's pretty amazing. Let's go take this thing out for a ride. Wow, oh my God, that was like the worst thing I've ever heard in my life. Oh, I didn't see you there. Listen guys, Versys 650, real middle of the road, right? You're gonna want something a little bit more up spec when it comes to your everyday carry. That's your wallet over here. Ridge Wallet is proud to support the Yammie Noob channel because we've been in the game with them for a long time. They're back as a sponsor, and we couldn't be more stoked. The best endorsement I can give for Ridge Wallets is that I actually bought this own wallet with my own money after they stopped being a sponsor because I needed another wallet. Spite actually has a Ridge Wallet himself too. These things are RFID blocking. It puts all of your cards into a nice little block. It is very small, very compact, but it doesn't end there. Ridge Wallets actually has a whole new line of knives, everyday carry stuff, bags, all kinds of stuff that you should definitely check out. So hit the link down below, get yourself a nice little discount from me to you on everything over at Ridge. All right, folks, we are aboard the Versys 650. I've been riding around these Malibu canyons a little bit. Is it truly more than the sum of its parts? Well, it just might be, honestly. Over something like the Z650, I'm actually enjoying this Versys way more. I don't have the tight little handlebar. I have a bit more of a substantial motorcycle underneath me. I've got a lot of range, which is pretty cool. I've been doing a lot of riding. I've only seen it tick down 1 or 2 notches. The owner of this bike has fitted a hydraulic clutch to this bad boy. I've got a Magura clutch here. Perfect clutch feel on this thing. Feels really, really good. And yeah, other than the fact that it's got this, you know, really uninspiring engine. That's kind of the main feature of this bike. Is this really, really just uninspiring motor. It's doing pretty good. Despite, how do I look from your angle? Because of course you had to be on a Pan Am.
Yeah, I had to pull up on a Pan America because it was available. So it looks every bit like a normal sport touring motorcycle from the back. I mean, you've got the big bags and it doesn't look horrendously ugly.
That's good.
And you know, if I pull up alongside you here, it's not a unpleasant looking little motorcycle. It looks fairly nice, actually.
Yeah, how does it look in your rear view? Does it have road presence?
No, but I don't think it needs to. It looks kind of like a tall Ninja, you know, an old school Ninja with the 2 headlights. It looks fine. It looks very unassuming, which I suppose is the point of a Versys, right? It's supposed to be just nice and chilled out and easy to get along with.
Yeah, I think the thing about the Versys is it is a bit like a Ninja 650 on stilts, which is nice. You get a little more ground clearance, a little more travel in the suspension, fully adjustable as well, and I actually do feel a big difference in these forks versus the Z650's front suspension. This does feel nicer, and you know, I'm pretty sure you can find these Versys 650s for like $4,500, which is a lot of bike for the money, I gotta say.
Would you take it over something like if there was say a Tracer 700 here in the States?
Ooh. Definitely not. I think that MT-07 engine is just a real peach, and that is just the limiting factor on the Versys 650. You always have to overlook the fact that it has this really uninspiring lawnmower parallel twin underneath it. That's always the thing I come back to. It's a little bit, you know, it's a little boring when you flick the wick on the throttle, but if you can overlook that and I guess be more of an adult about it, right? Because I think the little kid inside of you wants a fire-breathing V4, or a popped-up parallel twin, or a big-ass V-twin like in that Pan Am. But this is about as much motorcycle as anyone would need on the road, and it does everything pretty well, I gotta say. All the controls feel good. It does help that this one was meticulously maintained by its owner, as you guys have probably guessed by now who it is and how they maintained it.
How does it feel to ride? Like how does the engine feel in that motorcycle? Because from what I remember about the Z650, the Z650 was a torquey in the mid-range kind of engine, but just sort of generally meh all around. Does it feel any better, like it has a personality?
No, that character is still here, and a lot of these kind of sport touring bikes, they've all kind of homogenized. Like I remember we rode that Tiger 850 from Triumph. You know, I bet you the Tiger 660 feels a lot like this thing too. They all kind of coalesce around a very similar idea and platform, and yeah, no, this bike definitely doesn't feel special in any way, but you know, for what you're getting here, it's pretty good. It's just like, how do I phrase it? It's comfort food, you know? It is motorcycling comfort food. It is super known quantity, you know, it's like your chain restaurant sort of thing. You're like, I know what I'm gonna get when I go there. It's always gonna be the same, no matter if I'm ordering it in New York or California. You know, if I go to Chili's and get the molten lava cake, I know what I'm gonna get, right? And this is kind of the same story. It's a very known quantity of bike.
Yeah, you know, the more I see it in my rear view, the more like it doesn't look as hideous as I've made jokes about it in lists. It's actually kind of it looks just like a motorcycle, like a modern Japanese motorcycle.
Yeah, and this one is going on 7 years old now, which is a kind of a testament to its design.
Yeah, I mean, Kawasaki, for love them or hate them, they've really stuck with that sort of aggressive ninja styling, and it's got it. Like you can definitely see where that bike comes from.
Yeah, I got my windscreen going here. I feel like the only couple of things I'm missing on this bike, I think, that would really make it like the poor man's multistrada, which is something I've heard a lot about this bike, is I would love heated grips, I would love cruise control, and I would love, I think that's probably it. If I had heated grips and cruise control, I think this would be a pretty sweet little bike, I'm not gonna lie.
Honestly, I think no heated grips is a massive oversight. I know it's built to a budget, but I mean, come on, guys. It's the LT version, it's the upmarket version with the bags. Just give them heated grips from the factory.
Yeah. I was very jealous of you this morning when it was much colder than it is now and you were cruising on that heated grips on the Pan Am.
Oh yeah, that's that flagship ADV life, baby.
But this is like a third of the price of the Pan Am, maybe less if you can buy it used, maybe a fourth of the price, and I definitely don't think it's 25% the motorcycle that a Pan Am or some other big flashy sport touring bike is.
No, honestly, I was watching you go through the twisties, and I mean, the lighter weight is really gonna help. This bike can be a bit of a lot to manage, especially with all this horsepower on these tight canyon twisties that we were running earlier. There are some times when more power is not the solution.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I feel like about 70 horsepower in those super tight twisties we were in, which we will show you guys here. We do have to do a twisties check on the Versys. Dude, plenty of power to have fun, and I was able to use the bike and enjoy it. I mean, it's why people always come back to that category of bike as, you know, the best ones.
Yeah.
Especially if you live somewhere that has roads like this that are so tight and winding. Yeah. I think we need to get it over to the twisties and see how she does.
Let's do it.
Alright guys, we are now checking the prowess of the Versys 650 on some twisty roads. We love to see that sign. Next 6 miles, nice and twisty over here. And yeah, we'll see if it can flick in and have some fun and enjoy itself. I have a slight feeling that given its relatively low weight of 487 pounds and fully adjustable suspension, it should be a pretty fun little bike. Is it going to be an RS 660? No, of course not. But I think it's still going to be pretty good. I think the thing about sport touring bikes that's kind of funny is you always want to kind of ride them just perfectly upright. You don't really want to hang off the bike because the ergos are a little bit weird, and it is a little top heavy, so getting your butt off the seat and doing the whole sport bike thing feels a little silly. It almost feels like you want to take these, like, you know, like police officer style, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, I mean, that's more or less how they're designed to be ridden, right? It's just perfectly ramrod stiff and you know, chilled out. They're not really designed for you to be hitting apexes and stuff, but then they're still pretty capable little bikes.
Yeah, I mean, people are honestly surprised at how capable these sport touring bikes really are and how far they can lean over and kind of get after it. This one's also on a very underrated Dunlop GPR 300 tire, as told by me by the owner of this motorcycle. An underrated tire for an underrated bike, they say, which is pretty sweet. And yeah, it's got good grip side to side. Drop it down to gear here.
How do the brakes feel on it? Because that was one of the things that sort of surprised me about the Z650 is how aggressive the front brake felt.
Yeah, the front brake on this feels pretty good. Owner of the bike told me that they are a little bit worn out, so I'm definitely noticing there's a lack of super strong initial bite, but this old girl has 21,000 miles on her, so I'm gonna be a little gentler, you know? Yeah, brakes feel all right. Everything is all right on the Versys, you know? It's like everything you want it to do, you're like, yeah, it's like a 5 or a 6 out of 10. It's great, you know, it's fine. You know, it's the old, it's the middle of the bell curve, the Joe Dirt C-grade student, you know, 50th percentile.
Don't get lost down that rabbit hole. You're just gonna get a long way.
I think the cool part about this is, you know, it's still a motorcycle, guys. Like, even though it's a little dorky and a little dweeby, like, I'm just flicking it through these twisties. I'm enjoying these beautiful sights. I've never been on this road before, but I'm still having a great time. Versys is allowing me to explore and enjoy, which is what you want, you know?
Now, do you think you could ride that bike all day long? That's one of the good things about a sport tourer, right? Could you spend all day in the saddle on that motorcycle?
I gotta say, the seat is pretty comfortable. Yeah, I'd do it. I would do an all-day tour on this thing. Why not?
I mean, obviously here on the flagship Pan America, I'm loving life. Super comfy. I got my heated grips going because it's still just a little chilly.
I just love how, you know, we came all the way out to California. There are like a litany of bikes to rent in LA, and you picked a bike you've ridden no less than 4 times, I think.
I love this bike. It's so good.
But yeah, God, I just can't get over this, the sound this engine makes, and that's in a bad way. Like, because oftentimes I've said the, you know, RSV4 is like, oh, I can't get over the sound this bike makes, but this Versys just makes such a hideous sound.
And there's no fixing it. You can't fix it.
There's really no fixing this sound. It's pretty much ruined.
Like, I've seen a lot of people who are like, oh, you just got to get the right pipe for that bike. Or basically any of the parallel twin 650s.
Yeah, no.
You just got to get the right pipe, but you can't overcome how bland that firing order is.
Yeah, no, there's no way to fix it, unfortunately. Wow, this is so beautiful.
God damn.
Just carving through this canyon here. That rock face is so cool. Guys, if you've never ridden out here in Malibu, this is like motorcycling mecca. This is unbelievable out here. It's actually Spite's first time riding around out here.
Oh yeah, and I'm freaking loving every second of it.
I think the Versys passes the twisty road test. It can definitely handle a nice twisty road. It is not as is not as uninspiring and terrible as I thought it'd be at a twisty road. It can do it. It can do it just fine.
And I think that adjustable front suspension probably does help out a little bit.
Yeah, it's definitely more upmarket than the Z650, and it does feel pretty dang good, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, overall, like I'm nice and upright, I'm comfortable, I can just kind of carve through any corner I need to. It's sort of like, I don't know, it's like the idea of like, what more do you really need, you know? It's everything you need and nothing you don't.
But then comes the question of, but like, you could have other stuff, you know?
Totally. No, I am completely on board with that. Where like, the life is way too short to ride a bike like this. But, you know, if you don't care as much about that stuff, or you are truly just like trying to maximize your, you know, dollar per bike purchase and stuff like that, sure, get a Versys 650, but I personally believe that life is just simply too short to ride a motorcycle like this. Yeah, I want something with a little bit more excitement.
Oh, we're on a nice straight road. Dingus mode activate. Whee!
Yep. Now, folks, whenever you ride a Versys 650, for some reason you don't feel compelled to do that. I have been riding like an adult, Spike.
So well behaved.
I have not gone wide open throttle. I have been deriving orgasmic pleasure by hitting the speed limit, as one of our Discord members pointed out about the Versys. And now we're going to talk about this bike's commuting potential, its everyday riding potential. And I mean, guys, if you have to even ask yourself, this is such a ridiculously good commuting motorcycle. We are doing possibly the most scenic, easygoing commute here on it, cruising on PCH going north here. And yeah, I'm so comfortable, I'm nice and upright, my butt is not even sore a little bit. I've been in the saddle for this thing for a good 4 hours today already, and I'm not sore at all from riding it.
No.
Which is a big testament to this bike.
And I think especially on that Versys, because it's white, it looks so much from behind when I'm just kind of cruising, like a motorcycle cop. I imagine people would just get out of the way for you.
Yeah, that's true. I feel if I had some auxiliary lights on this thing and a couple more farkles and features, and if I was dressed with some patches or something, I could probably, you know, fool somebody into thinking I was a motorcycle cop and have people get out of my way. Not even need to split, I would just part the traffic like Moses. But, you know, we often talk about how certain bikes make you ride in certain ways, and you know, this bike really does make me want to ride in a very well-behaved, easygoing way. I don't really feel the need to squid on it. Mostly because it's not very rewarding to get on the gas here. Like, I'll drop it down a gear and just whack it wide open.
That was underwhelming.
I'm not, you know, super, you know, excited. Even from your angle, you're like, no, that didn't look great.
Well, and see, I heard you coming through the Cardo, and it just was like, okay.
Yeah. Here I come. Look out, world.
The Versys is on the way.
Versys is on the move.
And yeah, and the thought of somebody going in and getting a motorcycle at the dealership, and they're like, I want something that is going to usher me from point A to point B, much like my Prius, not make me feel a thing in my soul. That makes me sad.
That makes me sad too, and that's why we've dunked on this bike, because it's like, you know, God, don't you want some excitement in your life? I mean, motorcycles are exciting.
Yeah, I mean, do you need 150 horsepower? No, but it's still kind of fun to have, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, the commuting potential is outrageously high on the Versys 650. It's a bike you can live with every single day, and yeah, I think it's time to wrap up our final thoughts and see if this bike was truly greater than the sum of its parts. Is it as amazing as everyone says it is? Is it, you know, this secret supermoto even that we've heard on Discord? Is it an adventure bike? You know, all of these things. Is it all these things, or is it really just a middle of the road, bell curve motorcycle? I don't know.
Yeah,
let's go find out. All right, folks, we are wrapping the day up here with the Versatile System 650, and Spite, I gotta say, the the shop notes here that he's kept, meticulous. I mean, the chain has been cleaned every 600 miles. Everything's checked into spec. It's kind of unbelievable.
It's what you would expect from the owner of the versatile system here. You gotta keep it spick and span, otherwise it may not be so versatile.
That's true. Guys, you hate to see it, but we're not gonna eat crow today. We were actually right about this bike all along, weren't we, Spite?
Yeah.
It is aggressively beige, aggressively mediocre, middle of the bell curve, 5 out of 10, right there in the middle, does everything perfectly adequate. And I think the question today was, is it more than the sum of its parts? Maybe 10%?
Maybe,
tops?
yeah. I mean, the engine itself is pretty mediocre, let's be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, even in this package, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
That's all I can say about the engine. The ergonomics, they're fine. The fit is fine.
Yeah.
The fit and finish on the motorcycle, it's fine. It all works. But I don't feel like it's, let me say this, it's an upgrade over the Z650. If
Totally
you're thinking
agree.
Z650,
Just get a Versys.
get a Versys.
It's better. Basically in every way over Z650. We had a Z650 for a while. We know a lot about that platform. Yeah, I think this is just better in every way.
Yeah.
It kind of like cements itself in its, you know, sport touringness. It kind of gets itself in the zone beyond the Z650's pretensions of, you know, being a sport naked, this fun bike or whatever.
Yeah, because the Z650 is, man alive, it's got some real problems you really can't get over. But
Now, at the end of the day, we were talking about this. This is a bike that we feel that you would ultimately settle for.
Yes.
Right. This does not feel like a motorcycle that you would go to a dealership and be like, wow, like I want that. You know? It just, I don't know. It's missing that je ne sais quoi that a lot of bikes that we ride have.
it just, it doesn't have like something that draws me to it.
Yeah.
You know, the paint is cool. The bags are nice. That's kind of all I have, guys. I mean, honestly, I'm running out of things to say because there's nothing here that I'm like, wow, I want more of that, or I would like that on my motorcycle.
Yeah.
You know,
Maybe it's more of, you know, it has all this utility. It kind of feels to me like a well-loved multi-tool, right? It can do a lot of stuff. You can have it around, but, you know, you're never gonna, you know, go crazy over a multi-tool.
my Leatherman begs to differ.
I know you love your Leatherman, but maybe this is the Leatherman of the motorcycling world, man. This is just like, you know, you do everything, bop around, easy-going bike.
Yeah, I mean, this motorcycle will do anything you ask it to.
Yeah.
It'll go, it'll corner. I mean, that was one thing. I rode this down some really aggressive twisties, and it was way easier to ride than the Pan America.
Yes.
The Pan America, I was like, man alive, that thing feels heavy. This is light comparatively.
Yeah.
But it ain't no secret supermoto.
No. I think the Versys 650 is exactly what it needs to be. It's exactly what we thought it would be. It's hilarious that we came all the way to California just to be like, yep, it's beige.
How would you rate it? 1 out of 6, from 1 to 10. What do you think?
What do you think?
It's right in the middle.
5 out of 10. Exactly. It's a 5 out of 10 motorcycle. It does everything it needs to do, no more, no less. That's it. What would you rate it?
It's the absolute tip of the bell curve.
Yep.
Yeah, 5 out of 10.
5 out of 10. Guys, that's going to wrap up our review and ride of the Versys 650 today. Thanks again for Twisty Roads getting us this motorcycle. Thanks again to the owner of this bike. Much appreciated, much obliged. It's a great motorcycle. You know, 5 out of 10 motorcycle. It's great. And yeah, we'll catch you in the next one. We're going to go rip up some more twisties. See you later.
Keep watching in